Hello everyone again and welcome back to my channel, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you how you can create your own AI voice agent and how you can sell this to different businesses. Now what I'm essentially going to do is talk a bit about what voice agents are. I'm going to give you some examples of what use cases there is, talk about the pain points of what businesses have, and then finally talk about the solution and how you can sell these to actual businesses. After we've gone through this, we're then going to actually look at building your own voice agent. But before we jump in anywhere, just to let you know, in the top line of the description, there's going to be a link to my school community where I keep all of my resources, as well as more videos on how to create automations, how to find leads, outreach to businesses, how to close clients, and finally scaling your own AI agency business. This is mainly built for beginners and intermediates that are looking to get a bit more interested within this space. So let's get straight into it. And essentially what I've got here is a bit of a mind map, sort of roadmap, however you want to call it, of what voice agents are, how you can start selling these to businesses, and sort of just get a bit more general information about them. So first of all, voice agent uses. So voice agent is an umbrella term. There's many different ways of how you can use this within a business. The first one that I've got on here is an AI receptionist, which is actually what we're going to be building today. This is probably the most popular one that you see most people creating. But other things would also include a lead follow-up system, for example. So after a lead has submitted a form on your website, you could have a voice agent which would contact these people and qualify them so you're ready to handle them to the sales team. You could have a customer feedback system, which instead of doing this via text or through email, this will actually be over the phone. And then finally, you've also got some internal HR voice agent uses. That's only 4 that I've given you there out of a range of different ones that you could use. Essentially, all a voice agent is a way of transferring information verbally from one place to another instead of using a human. So let's see how the workflow would look then. Essentially, in an AI receptionist scenario, the phone would ring, so I may ring a dentist, for example. The AI agent would answer the phone pretty rapidly, and then it will have a conversation and handle any queries that I have. So for example, I may want to find the opening times, or the different treatments that they offer, or essentially book in for a call, which is again what we're going to be doing today. Then it could also book meetings. By doing this, it will check the calendar, check the availability within the business, and finally book me in or reschedule me if I need to. And finally, and most important part is actually notifying the owner. So giving the owner information on what's happened on this call and if there's any been bookings that have happened. The benefits of these lie within what I have on the screen now. So let's start from the top here. You can handle numerous calls at once, which is essentially what this is. You're able to scale using voice agents because instead of one human being on the phone answering it sequentially, the voice agent can handle multiple at different times without getting information mixed up. It's obviously autonomous, meaning that you don't have to do this repetitive task anymore. It's got a storage bank full of FAQs, which we essentially call the knowledge base. It replicates a human. It will escalate issues to a human if the AI agent can't handle the queries. For example, I may be on the phone to this AI agent and I actually physically want to speak with someone, in which case the AI agent will do this, escalate it, and it will get the human on the phone. It can book meetings, as we've discussed, reschedule meetings, and it avoids time wasters. Imagine how many receptionists pick up the phone to people that either just want to chat or hear about the service. While that is good for the business, it's essentially causing time wasters, and it's wasting that employee's time for the business. So now we've gone over the actual voice agent itself and the benefits it gives. I've created this, which is essentially going to give you a bit of extra legwork and information on what to do once you've created your voice agent. So think about AI receptionists, for example. Who are you going to be selling this to? Which businesses are there? Now, don't get me wrong, there's a range of businesses, but the ones that I've sold to in the past and the ones that I've found most success with are the ones you see on the screen now. So medical or dental care. So every dentist, for example, has a receptionist. This human is good at what they do. They're able to answer calls, but an AI receptionist can do this. And it doesn't mean the human is leaving the job or has to get removed from the business because there's an AI receptionist. It just means that they're doing more important work that will actually help grow in. Then home services, things like plumbing, HVAC, roofing. And the reason why I find these 3 most perfect is because these guys never answer the phone. They've always got their phone in their pocket, or roofing, for example. They're always on top of a roof where it's pretty awkward to handle the phone. If they can do their day-to-day work and actually do the job that they're supposed to do and have something that answers and books calls for them, then they will love that. Finally, things like spas and salons, or barbers, for example. And arguably the most important point when trying to sell to businesses is targeting the pain point. So essentially a pain point is a struggle within this business niche. This is essentially what is going to help you sell the product. So the pain that they suffer from not having an AI receptionist is missed revenue opportunities. So, for example, when there's two people calling at once and the human can't answer both calls at the same time, or the fact when it's out of hours they can't do it. So that's missed revenue opportunities. Staff inefficiency. So sometimes staff aren't as quick as they can be to answer phones, so they miss calls, for example. Inconsistent experience. How many times there's different receptionists, or if the receptionist is in a certain tone one day or the other, they have inconsistent experience, meaning some people think this business is good, some people think this business is bad. If you have an AI agent, they'll be able to keep that same tone that you request, and it will be nice and structured in the business. And finally, after hours issues. How many times have people rang businesses and you get put straight through to voicemail because it's out of hours, or they just don't answer the phone completely? What happens at the weekends? What happens at 7 p.m. at night? The AI agent will be able to do all of this. So the solution lies here, and this is where you build this voice agent. So the voice agent will answer calls 24/7, in the evenings, on Saturdays, on Sundays. It will book appointments directly into a calendar, meaning without you even have to raise a finger, bookings and reschedulings are made completely on autopilot. It will transfer calls to appropriate staff, which is essentially the escalation that we were talking about earlier. And finally, you can scale rapidly during busy periods because you can essentially answer multiple phones at once. So let's have a look at the pricing, and this is probably you're most interested about because this is what's going to make you money. Off personal experience, I would price voice agents anywhere between $2,000 to $8,000 setup fee. And you might think, God, that's a lot, or no one is ever going to pay that. Well, they will. And it all depends on the size of business that you're targeting. So that's why there is a big range here. But AI receptionists, for example, you'd be looking anywhere between $2,000 to $4,000, I would assume. And that's because, yes, the person that's on the reception desk at the minute may not be getting paid that much every month, but they're not going to be getting paid too far off this. And if you can show all the benefits that you can offer, where the human can actually focus on more important tasks, then that should be a no-brainer for the business owner. And after that, I would opt for a lower monthly retainer. Now, you may think, oh, but you want to be earning the same £1,000 a month, but in my opinion, you've got to be quite conservative with this, and especially if you're charging that high upfront fee. So you want to charge a high upfront fee to build the software out and add all the systems within it that suits that business. But once that's built, it's built. And all you have to do then is just charge them the credits plus a bit extra. Now, I know it can be really tempting to put $2,000 a month, but speaking from personal experience, I would opt for a structure like this, where you go for a higher initial setup fee and then a lower monthly retainer. That's not to say it won't work doing a high monthly fee every time, and I would say also with a lot of AI automations, you want to be charging a high price every month. But for this, for example, I would go for the lower end. Now let's look at actually building this voice agent then. So what you want to do is head over to Retail AI. So Retail AI is essentially a voice agent platform which is really simple. Got a really nice user interface. And previously, where it's taken hours to build voice agents on things like N8N or Make.com, this is a whole platform where you can do it for yourself. So if you just sign into your own retail account or just make an account yourself, you can use a free trial account like I'm doing here. Essentially, what you want to do is go to this page here, which is going to have all your agents. I think there's 2 that's added essentially when you first log in. And what you want to do is create an agent. So go over to the top right, click on voice agent, and you'll be presented with this sort of dashboard here. You've got a conversational flow agent, which is asking for rigid, highly formatted conversations, or you want a single prompt. And that's what we're going to do here. Essentially, we're going to just give it one big prompt, which is going to tell it everything that it's going to need to do, and essentially give it one conversion, which is book appointments. And we're going to start from blank, and we're just going to show you how you can do this from scratch. So once you're on Retail AI and you've clicked your single prompt agent, you're only presented with a screen like this. And you can see at the top here, you've got your naming convention there, and you've also got the sort of rate that it's going to be charged at. So every time someone's on the phone, it's going to cost 11 cents per minute. You've also got some latency tokens here as well. You've got the model which you're using. We're going to stick with GPT 4.1. You've got all the different voices you can use. So these are pulled straight from 11 Labs. So for example, you've got Adrian here, who's American young, or we've got Amy, who's a British young. And because I'm British myself and we're going to target a British business, we're going to go for this lady. So once you're on the screen, you can click on Use Voice, and you'll see that changes at the top there. Essentially, on your left is going to be where you input your prompt, which is going to be all the text that you want to tell this voice agent to do. In the center here, you've got basically a list of functions, data, any additional information that you need to give it. And then on the right, what you have is your actual test agent. And on the right, what you have is essentially your testing bay. So this is where you'll click test here, and you'll speak to the voice agent, see what's working, see what isn't. And it's essentially a serious back and forth where you can just adapt your prompts or change a few settings to see how it works. So you can see you can really quickly develop an AI agent here. So let's first start with knowledge base. Now, for those of you that don't know, a knowledge base is essentially a document or a PDF, for example, with a load of information about that company. So it may have opening times or the different rates they do or the different services they offer or the people that work there. Anything about that company which is information to the agent is perfect. I have actually created this already, so I'm going for a dentist, and I'll leave this in the link below. I'll try and link the prompt and this knowledge base that I've got here, but essentially if you don't want to use mine, what I would essentially do if you're just trying to start out and play around with this, ask ChatGPT to generate you a page-long document about a business that includes location, phone numbers, services they offer, frequently asked questions, and you can imagine it will make it up pretty proudly. So you can do a dentist or a builder or a barber, however you want to do it. Let ChatGPT do it. Download the PDF, and essentially what you want to do is if you click back on your home, and on your left here you've got knowledge base, add your knowledge base to the top. You would call it whatever you want to call it, add it there, and you would just upload a file like you see here. Obviously, as you can see, my dentist one here is there, and if I download it, you can see that a bit about what it looks like. So if I click on that, you can see here. So I've just asked ChatGPT to generate a random one. So they've called it Riverside Dental Care. You can see the services that they offer, areas that they serve, pricing, just a load of stuff about this business. It doesn't go into too much detail, but it gives the AI agent enough information to work off. So then if we go back to our agents and click on the one we were just working on, we can go over to knowledge base and add the dentist in London there. Next, essentially what we want to do is add some functions, and this is essentially going to let us book the call and check for availability. So we go over to functions, and previously here it is selected end call, which basically tells the user to end the call when it ends. We're going to add a new function here, and that is going to be check calendar availability, in brackets cal.com. And if you don't know cal.com, it is essentially similar to Calendly, but it's completely free. So I've already made an account with cal.com because I use it throughout my business, but you can literally just make an account, type in cal.com, create an account. I would sign up with your Google accounts because then it links your Google Calendar straight away. But after you've done all those steps, it shouldn't take long, like 2 or 5 minutes roughly, you'll be presented with something like this here. And what we're going to do is add a new meeting. So we're going to do dentist, something like that. It's pretty simple, and we're going to say the duration of what we're going to book in is 60 minutes, let's say, and just say we're offering a range of different dentist services. So we'll do a routine checkup, braces fitting, anything like that, and we'll just say each one here takes 60 minutes, for example, just for ease of this. Obviously, if you're going to do something like a barber's, for example, you may want to do a short haircut is 20 minutes or a blow dry is 60 minutes, whatever you want to do. You can imagine how you can do it, but for the sake of this video, we're just going to use one. And once you've clicked on that then, you can see all of this. So essentially, once you've created your meeting, so you can see here that it's 60 minutes and it's in the dentist, if you go to the URL at the top here, you want to see, I think it's 6 digits there, 6 digits or 7 digits. And essentially just copy those digits there and then head back over to retail, and where it says event type ID, you just want to paste it in there. So that's going to link directly to the URL that you've just created. But now you also need to add an API key, and this API key is essentially going to give access to your cal.com account. So go back over to cal.com, head to settings, and at the bottom here you can see API keys. I've already created mine, so what we're going to do is create another one. So add, and we're just going to call this retail AI, and once you've done that, we'll click it to never expires just because we want to keep using this, and then I can copy that there, go straight back over to retail and paste it in there. So it's literally that simple. So essentially what that function is going to do, check your calendar, see if you've got availability. What we now need to do is book on the calendar, and this is pretty straightforward because we've already got the API key. So paste that in there, and then head back over to the meeting that we've just created. See if it comes up. There you go, dentist, and then back to the URL and paste those numbers in. So we've now got an API key that looks at that specific meeting URL. So there we go, we can add that. You've just added 2 new functions. So it's going to check your calendar for availability, and then it's going to book your calendar. And then the final one, what we're going to do is call transfer. And what we're going to use this for is essentially if the AI agent can't handle a query, we're going to pass it over to a human. So we're going to call this transfer underscore call, like it's given us, transfer call to a human after a inquiry can't be answered, something like that. Pretty simple. What you can do, add your own personal phone there. I'm not going to do it just for this instance, and you're just going to want to do a cold transfer. So essentially all that means is that a warm transfer, the AI agent will give the human a bit of a debrief of what's going on, but for the sake of this, we'll just leave it as a cold, so it just gets put directly with the human. Then you can save that. And as far as we're concerned on this middle section, we are pretty much completed now. So we're going to move over to the prompt. So essentially I've got this prompt here from ChatGPT, so this is what I made earlier, and essentially what I told it to do was just basic things about what I want to achieve. So I gave it the tonality of the voice, so I want it to be friendly and professional. I gave it its objectives, so its objectives in this specifically are to book a call and reschedule if needed. Then you've also got the functions used, so as you can see here, check availability, book the appointment, transfer the call, and then also some other things, like you could use an example conversation. I haven't included it in here before, but you could say, open up the call with, hey, this is XYZ, how can I help you today? In which case, every time it would open with that. And then also at the end, you've got a couple of no-goes. So I always keep the ones that you shouldn't be saying at the very end, because that way the AI agent is going to remember that last, if you see what I mean. So we always want to maintain a friendly, calm and professional conversation. We want to avoid sounding like a robot. We don't want to make up information. And if you're unsure about something, always guide towards the booking appointment and to the human. So essentially, let's give this a go then. Hello?
Hello, thank you for calling the dental practice. How can I help you today? Are you looking to book an appointment or do you have a question about our services?
No, I'm just looking to book an appointment, please.
Of course, I'd be happy to help you book an appointment. May I have your name, please?
Yeah, the name is Sam. I just want to book an appointment at 6 p.m. on Monday, please.
Thank you, Sam. To make sure we book the right appointment for you, could you please let me know what type of appointment you'd like? For example, is it a routine checkup, a filling,
let's
braces,
before you get any further, let's book a routine checkup, please.
Let me quickly check if we have a slot available for a routine checkup at 6 p.m. on Monday. Sam, it looks like we don't have a slot available at 6 p.m. on Monday. However, we do have openings on Monday between 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. and from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. If those don't work, there are also plenty of slots available on Tuesday from 3 a.m. to 3 p.m. Would you like to choose one of these times, or is there another day or time that works better for you?
Can I do Monday at 10 a.m, please? So there you go then, and just like that you can see here that it's come up in my calendar just from doing that. So no complex automation, literally done all within Retail AI. So you can play around with the prompt a little bit more to make it a bit more concise and flow a bit easier. For example, you saw that she started listing out all of the different treatments they offer, and essentially I knew what I wanted, so I had to cut her off, which is a good thing because you can interrupt the agent, but sometimes you don't want it to be rambling all the time. You know, we're all human, we're all busy, we don't want to be speaking to this AI agent constantly while she's giving us ideas. So what I would do then, copy this prompt that I've given you here, edit it yourself, see if you can play around with it and optimize the prompt so that you can get it to talk very concisely and very firmly to you. So just like that, you've been able to create your own AI voice agent that you can literally go away and sell to any sort of business. Now, if you have enjoyed this video, please give it a like, a comment and subscribe. It does help an awful lot with growing this channel. And also, like I said, if you want to join my community, it'll be in the top line of the description. It's called AI to Income, and I essentially help beginners and intermediates grow their AI agency, scale, and essentially get more income. Hopefully this has been a really good video for you guys and it starts to open your eyes a bit more into the capabilities of AI voice agents, and I'll see you in the next video.